You know, Martin, it's funny how much time we spend planning for the inevitable: retirement, pensions, even funeral arrangements. It's like we've got this entire roadmap for the end of life, right up to the grave.
Absolutely, Peter. It's ingrained in us, this need for security, even in our absence. But what if that roadmap had a secret detour, a path we haven't quite acknowledged yet, beyond just what happens when we're gone?
A secret detour. You're talking about something more than just leaving a legacy or a trust fund, aren't you? Because I've been pondering something a bit more radical, something that touches on not just extending life, but almost restarting it.
You're hitting on exactly what I'm thinking. We plan for one life, but have we ever really thought about saving for another? I mean, really saving for it, in a literal sense. Because there are people out there who are doing just that, placing their bets on a future that most of us only dream about in sci fi movies.
You're talking about cryogenics, aren't you? Freezing yourself or your head, hoping to wake up in a distant future. It's a pretty wild concept when you really dig into it. The dream to cheat death, to reanimate.
Exactly. The ultimate life insurance policy, some might call it. People are investing a significant amount of money into this technology, not just for themselves, but some even for their pets, believe it or not. They're hoping to return as the same person, to reconnect with a future world, perhaps even with loved ones who follow suit.
That's the fascinating part for me, the same person bit. Because while the dream is to wake up and be you, the more likely scientific outcome, if it even works, might be something else entirely. A synthetic simulation, maybe, or a reconstructed version of what you once were, which, raises some pretty profound questions about identity.
Oh, absolutely. It's a philosophical minefield. Are you truly you if your memories are uploaded or synthesized? Is your consciousness transferable? It's not just about stopping biological decay, it's about preserving the essence of self. And that essence, Peter, is incredibly fragile, especially when we talk about the brain.
Fragile is an understatement. When you look at what happens to the brain even moments after oxygen deprivation, it's terrifying. I mean, we're talking about a very small window of opportunity for any kind of preservation to be effective, let alone successful for reanimation.
It really is. Let's break it down because I think understanding this timeline is crucial to appreciating just how ambitious cryogenics truly is. Most people lose consciousness within 30 to 180 seconds if their brain is deprived of oxygen. That's less than 3 minutes typically.
And it gets worse quickly, right? My understanding is that at the 1 minute mark, brain cells already start to die. Not just get damaged, but actually begin the process of irreversible death. That's incredibly fast.
Yeah, exactly. And by 3 minutes, those neurons, the building blocks of thought and memory, they're suffering more extensive damage. At that point, lasting brain damage becomes much more likely. We're talking about permanent cognitive impairment potentially.
5 minutes, and death becomes imminent. That's a point of no return for most. Even if resuscitation efforts bring someone back, the damage is often catastrophic. It highlights the immense challenge these cryogenic facilities face, trying to intervene at that critical juncture.
And by 10 minutes, even if the brain somehow remains alive, a coma and severe lasting brain damage are almost inevitable. Imagine waking up or being reanimated, only to find yourself in such a state. And at 15 minutes, survival, let alone meaningful survival, becomes nearly impossible. It just shows you how delicate this whole process is and why death, as we understand it, is such a critical barrier.
It makes you wonder then what exactly these cryogenic companies are aiming to preserve. Is it just the structural integrity, hoping that future technology can somehow repair or reverse the damage that occurred in those crucial first minutes? Because if you're already effectively brain dead, what are you bringing back?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it leads to a darker side of this discussion. What happens to people who sustain severe brain damage now? We have individuals who are permanently in comas or, tragically, in euthanasia programs because there's no hope for recovery.
Right. We're at a point where our medical science can keep bodies alive almost indefinitely, but if the brain is gone, then, well, the person is gone. It's a devastating reality for families. But what if, instead of that end-of-life decision, there was another door?
Exactly. What if, rather than an end of life scenario, you could enter into another life, but through a different pathway? And here's where it gets really interesting, to me at least. We're talking about cybernetics and deep brain research, moving beyond just freezing to actually enhancing and extending.
So, instead of a damaged brain simply decaying or being maintained in a vegetative state, could sections of it be used? Could they be transplanted or even spliced together with synthetic components? It almost sounds like something out of a futuristic novel, but the technology is advancing so rapidly.
The potential is staggering. Imagine a future where, if a part of your brain is irreparably damaged, it could be replaced by a cybernetic implant that functions even better than the original. Or, if the core of your consciousness, yourself, could be extracted and housed in a new, perhaps even non-biological form.
That's a massive leap from just preserving a frozen body. This is about transcending the biological limitations entirely. A person living beyond the barriers of health and well-being, effectively upgrading themselves. That's a next life in a very different sense than just reawakening in the future.
It completely redefines what it means to be human, doesn't it? If your mind can exist independently of a biological body or be so intertwined with advanced cybernetics, what are the implications for aging, for disease, for even our definition of death?
And the implications for society are just as vast. If only the incredibly wealthy can afford this, are we creating a new class of immortal or vastly extended beings? That's a whole ethical minefield we'd have to navigate.
A huge one, but the core idea remains. People are driven by this desire to overcome mortality, whether it's through traditional medicine or through these more speculative high-tech avenues. It's about fighting for a new future rather than simply accepting the one laid out for us.
So, when we talk about saving for your next life, it's not just about a pension anymore, is it? It could be about investing in the research, in the technology that might one day allow for this kind of radical existence. It's almost like a new form of evolution, driven by human ingenuity.
Absolutely. It's about looking at death not as an absolute end, but as a problem to be solved, a barrier to be overcome. It's a profound shift in mindset. Instead of just preparing for the end, we're actively striving to redefine what an end even means.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, honestly. From planning a funeral to potentially planning for a whole new consciousness in a cybernetic body. It makes you reconsider everything we think we know about life, death, and what it means to be human.
It truly does. Whether you believe in the possibility of reanimation or the ethical implications of cybernetic transcendence, one thing's clear. The conversation around life, death, and what comes next is rapidly evolving. We're on the cusp of some truly mind-bending advancements, and it's exciting, terrifying, and utterly fascinating all at once.
So, are you saving for your next life, Martin? Or are you fighting for a new future?
I think I'm doing a bit of both, Peter. Keeping an open mind and hoping that whatever future awaits us, it's one we can all truly thrive in. And with that, I think we've given our listeners plenty to ponder today. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey, Peter.
My pleasure, Martin. And to all our listeners out there, keep thinking, keep questioning, and maybe start saving for that next life, whatever it may be. Until next time.